Welcome, audiences. So, as you'll recall, when last we were here on our ever merry-filled journeys into the land before time, we found aliens. Frickin' aliens.
If that's not the sign that the series officially jumped the shark, I don't know what is.
Now, if you'll recall, we had actually a pretty good villain who could be pretty nuanced and, hey, was voiced by Michael York. Apologies that we kind of mistook him with the wrong actor for a good portion of the previous commentary. That being said, to balance out the fact that it had a good villain, it had arguably the worst plot yet, an extremely mean-spirited one at that, and well, yeah, since we never see that character again, we can potentially assume the worst has happened to him, goddamn. But we're here to ask the question, can it possibly go lower than that previous film? And to their credit, it seems like Dwibs and Shiroi didn't so much as hate Stone of Cold Fire, since it seemed like they got a laugh out of it and the aliens. Kudos to you, Brits.
This movie, on the other hand, to me is more boring, but I'll explain.
Okay, so this is another movie that I recalled seeing when I would be at W Kids, the kids area that used to be at Wegmans, essentially, where kids could hang out, play games. I would sometimes play Banjo-Kazooie, or watch some Land Before Time movies. This is one of those ones that I saw often there, and yet I cannot remember all the plot. Now, I do remember that once again they got a famous actor for this because, yeah, I guess the Land Before Time series is just popular enough to land some of the hottest actors.
Or these actors were full of gambling debts and they needed something, or the filmmakers have dirt on these people.
Hey, some people need work, you know?
This desperately, though?
Yes.
I mean, the voice acting industry is pretty rough, so...
I mean, not as desperate as the likes of Food Fight or Sausage Party, mind you, but still.
Yeah, today's special actor will be Robert Guillaume, who you may know as Eli Vance in the video game Half-Life 2, or more famously, Rafiki from The Lion King.
Personally, I'm more familiar with his previous iconic character, Benson. But, yeah.
Alright, from Soap. Let's just get this out of the way, shall we? It's the one that other hackneyed movies will rip off the title of, The Big Freeze. Not to be confused with the Big Furries from Alpha and Omega.
Naturally.
So, yeah, start at the Universal logo, not the best one with the extended one, but the 90s one, and let the merriment continue in 3, 2, 1, click. But yeah...
Oh, we give this movie a frosty
I will
reception.
not tolerate Jerry Goldsmith slander on my patch.
Oh, don't get me wrong, this seems good. But I love the extended theme that we later got. But yeah, that's a good question, Shiroi. Because again, I personally think that Stone of Cold Fire is as bad as it gets, but to be fair, there are some people who do make arguments for why certain other films could be considered worse, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Let me guess. Another lesson on how the universe began?
Wait a minute. Kenneth Mars and Robert Guillaume. Finally, a crossover between Lion King and Little Mermaid.
Yeah, sure.
The Land Before Time V.
The Big Freeze. Wait, we're not opening up with a narration from space?
Over lava. Oh,
huh. I'm surprised.
Okay.
I guess even they got bored of it.
Oh, never mind. There it is.
Oh.
Although, to give them credit, they
God
didn't...
damn it.
It's like how the Pokemon movies keep explaining what Pokemon is at the beginning of every movie.
Well, they gotta for the parents who take their kids there.
I guess.
What do you mean they want, or more accurately, sure, it's those who buy their kids the DVD or the VHS
Yeah, in the
So,
case of
yes,
this movie, all these movies were straight to DVD. Yeah.
So, 2001, that's when this film came out. December even, so imagine buying this for your kids' Christmas present.
Well, remember this, they got to number 8, so I'm pretty confident these movies kept doing well. Again, it's for the same reason that the Swan Princess is still going. People keep buying those movies for some reason.
Okay, so
And
Big Freeze
I
released
do
near
too.
Christmas, so this is a Christmas movie, right?
Of course.
It's not.
All right, cool.
Let's see more Winter Solstice.
Yeah, it's more Winter Solstice. Like, it's not. It's the closest thing you'll get to a Christmas Land Before Time movie.
I
basically.
mean, like, it's the closest thing they treat to a Christmas movie, and I'll give them credit, they don't go to the lengths of Alpha and Omega and legit have the dinosaurs celebrate Christmas. Yeah, sure, I'm not kidding, the wolves actually celebrate Christmas, which implies that they believe
Why?
because apparently the wolves are Christian in Alpha and Omega to be celebrating Christmas, or at least they believe in a higher power enough to believe in Christmas. Oh wait, is this the one
so
where
this movie is focused specifically on Ducky and Spike.
I do not have room. Were you the posh one? Yeah, honestly, I'm just looking forward more to the last one to see if that one ends with the meteor.
Jesus, Dibs.
I mean that didn't that wasn't there this popular live action puppet dinosaur show end with the meteor?
Yes, you're thinking of Jim Henson's Dinosaurs.
Yeah, that one. I mean, if that could end that way, I'm pretty sure these can too.
Yeah, that was a great show, by the way. It holds up.
It's on Disney Plus, isn't it?
I don't know. I'll have to look up.
I'll check.
Oh yeah, here's another interesting thing that in addition that this movie brings. The dinosaur, and Bob Shaw also pointed this out. Guess what, Shore? The kid dinosaurs now have a teacher, Mr. Thicknose. Which begs the question, why would these dinosaurs need school? Like, they're in a green paradise with full of food. School is a human concept. Why would dinosaurs need this?
Well, clearly they need to learn how to
And yes,
eat.
this is on Disney. This is on Disney Plus.
Okay.
Because children have to learn something.
Okay, no, but that's the thing, Sure. Human children need to learn something.
Okay.
Dinosaur children, on the other hand, not really.
It doesn't make sense, but the human children watching this need to learn something.
Okay,
Yes.
I don't know what, but something.
headcanon, this is just the adults' latest ploy to try and keep the kids out of another adventure.
Probably.
So yeah, of course, since he's wise, the teacher is voiced by Rafiki.
Yes, Robert Guillaume. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yes.
Guillaume, yeah.
Back in the 80s, he was known for Benson.
And then he was Rafiki, and then he was Eli Vance in Half-Life 2.
Like I said, he was a prolific actor. I'm not sure if he still is, but he definitely was prolific by the time this movie came out. Like I said,
Unfortunately, he died in 2017.
Yeah.
Alas. Let me see what his last role was. Alright, let's see. Oh yeah, he was also in Supernatural. That's nice. Oprah, where are they
What
now?
episode?
Not sure which one. profound.
Yeah, the thing about the whole teaching thing, it kind of doesn't. It doesn't really have anything to do with the plot, because as you're going to see later, the plot is more about family rather than anything involving the need to learn.
Okay, to be fair, I think it's more so setting up the teacher's character, which, yeah, he does kind of have an arc this one, but...
Yeah, it doesn't.
Well-
It doesn't look like he was in Supernatural, but
You'll have to wait and see on that. Anyway, the scene is more so to establish the character of the teacher, who will play a role later, and to set up some plot points here, but no, I assure you, the majority of the movie will not be about just school stuff.
the hell?
And Littlefoot just invented the foghorn.
In whatever BC.
Mm-hmm. Well, that happened. Moving on. Yeah, I'm afraid you're alone on this one, Littlefoot.
Well, I mean, I wonder if he's become this jaded because people kept making jokes about his name. I mean, it'd be like if people kept making Jason, Heavy Rain Jason jokes to Jova.
Or made Fairy Fencer F jokes for you, Harley. Oh wait, that's right. Pedro had your voice, Harley.
Yes.
It's all in the
Yes, he
name.
did.
Anyway, Ducky's plot point here. In the heart.
In the lung. Oh, that's really bad.
Dinosaur cancer.
You're not sick. You're sad.
No, she's mad is what Sarah prescribes. And again, it is Sarah, so this is in
What is
character.
that face? Seriously, what's up with Sarah's eyes just now? Like, okay, now they're back to normal. Like, what the fuck was that face?
Meant to be an expression. Well, if there is
What?
but if there is anything positive I've gotten out of this commentary so far, is that I know the right volume now where I can watch films on my TV without it bleeding over into your guys' audio.
That's nice. Sarah, please don't teach people to be like you. I'm not sure that's a good idea. Oh, suddenly another spike tail. Okay.
It's like, oh, children need to learn something. Wait, no, not from Sarah.
All right.
No.
All right, Shira. So here's the actual plot. Guess what? A new herd of stegosauruses, or spike tails, as the Land Before Time universe likes to call them, just moved into the Great Valley. Now, in case you forgot, Shiroi, Spike, despite not being a swimmer, got adopted into Ducky's family. You can probably put one and one together and see where this is going. Sarah, please don't teach.
That's not a war face.
Don't teach children to be mad. That's not a good thing to teach to people.
No. What you should do is give her a giant. What you should do is give her a giant hammer and have her start chasing metallic birds instead.
Actually,
I think I missed that. I don't know about you, Shuri, but I think I missed that episode of Playdays where one of the presenters just got mad.
Please,
I mean, not in the way that Sarah does it, because she's angry all the time, but being mad is a valid emotion to let out. It's literally what rage rooms are for.
I think that's what they're trying to go for, just having Ducky let loose with anger, because Ducky has always been more of a docile character, one who keeps her bigger emotions. Well, maybe not all her bigger emotions, but...
Jesus, the jump!
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
I think the editor just had a stroke. What the fuck was that?
But yeah, no, going back to Shuri's point, I think that's what Sarah's... I think that's what Sarah's trying to help Ducky do, just, let off steam, essentially. But yeah.
But the way Sarah does it is pretty, she doesn't have... I don't want to give her too much flack because she is a child, but somebody needs to help this kid.
Also, are we going to ignore the fact that for a full second there, Sarah got possessed by the devil? Her eyes literally turned blood red.
I guess that's something that's shared in common with Swan Princess at some point.
But yeah, being mad is okay. There's just a way you should express it, It's not about being mad, it's about how you let it out.
Yeah. And if I recall correctly, that's what Sarah's trying to help Ducky do.
But Sarah shouldn't be the one to do this.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Sarah is the last person that should be doing this. Also, this song sucks, as usual.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to not be too hard on the songs. Yeah, I got nothing really... Okay, it's not the worst song we've gotten, but it is not remarkable either.
No, the Hot and Stinky song is probably still the worst for a movie because it's just so pointless.
I can't believe I'm gonna say this. I can't believe I'm going to say this. This song is probably weaker than any of the songs from the last movie. God help me.
Yes, but...
Well, I mean, I think so far these songs I've been hearing, they're better than the ones in, since we're comparing sequels to Don Bluth movies, they're better than the ones I heard in Secret Inning 2.
That's an accomplishment.
Hey,
think of it this way. Most of these songs have people in it that can sing.
I mean, okay, let me put it like this. I actually prefer the melodies of Secret Inning 2 songs more. And to be fair, Eric Idle actually can sing.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Eric Idle is the one exception there, though.
Unfortunately, that can't make me forget Ralph Macchio's quote-unquote singing.
Yeah, Ralph Macchio.
Also,
sing.
Yes, Roy?
We actually heard the toxicity in the song as well. She literally just talked about holding a grudge until the other person grovels, and it's
I'm sorry,
oh boy, there it is.
Oh, apparently they're having a parent-teacher conference. What the heck?
Yeah, apparently. And I'd like to comment on that line. He's saying that Littlefoot has a quote-unquote very negative attitude. I'm sorry, I'm not entirely certain that's the correct way of describing it.
I think you're talking about the wrong character here.
Yeah, because, okay, Littlefoot did that thing with the log. Yes, I get that. But that doesn't mean he has a quote-unquote negative attitude towards Ghoul. That's not a good way to phrase it.
My best guess would be that it's the teacher's way of saying he's a bad influence, I guess. Okay, granted. Okay, given what we later find out about this teacher, I wonder if that was supposed to be foreshadowing for that big reveal. Granted, I might just be giving the movie way too much credit, but maybe that was them foreshadowing what we find out about the teacher later.
He volunteered to share his wisdom with the young ones. Okay, but for what purpose, though?
Well, okay. As far as these guys know, this guy has apparently gained a ton of knowledge for stuff even in the great beyond and all that, yada yada yada, so it's something to tell the kids in case they later need that knowledge.
This is the thing. Like I said, in school, in humans, makes sense to have the school thing because there are things that the parents cannot teach kids. In this specific society, the dinosaur society, the parents should be perfectly capable of teaching everything that their children need to know.
Supposedly,
So,
Mr.
I'm
Ficknose knows a ton of knowledge that even the parents don't know.
Okay, and that would be fine if the movie would actually explain what that knowledge is that's so important, apparently. I mean, because this plot element doesn't seem to make any sense to me. It's just thrown in here just for the hell of it.
And you know what? You'd be right, because I don't think the school... Well, okay, actually, if I recall correctly, they
The
may
TV show,
have...
I think.
Yeah, the TV show actually did bring that back, so never mind. They actually did commit to it in some way, shape, or
If I
form.
remember correctly, the TV show only came after movie 13, right?
I think so. Which was probably...
What year was the show on?
Let
I
me
don't
check.
remember.
Because I know I definitely watched some kind of Land Before
Yeah.
Time thing that wasn't the original movie when I was growing up.
Okay,
I
the
keep
Land
it-
Before...
I keep forgetting that was a thing.
Okay, the Land Before Time series came out in January of 2007 in Canada, March 2007 in the United States.
Okay, so it definitely wasn't that I watched then because I was way too late into.
Okay, the TV series takes place after the events of Land Before Time
that's a fancy, I
13,
guess.
and before the events of Land Before... And before the events of Land Before Time 14, essentially.
Okay. Okay, not for nothing, Mr. Thicknose, but just because you yourself never saw anything happen, that doesn't mean it's impossible.
So, I wonder, I guess we should maybe technically check the series before we get to Land Before Time 14, seeing as how certain characters that show
Yeah.
up in Land Before Time 14 debuted in the series.
Yeah, we'll look into that. For now, we have like a few more movies before we get to that point.
Yeah,
Yeah, back to
I'll
Spike.
be here a while. What, where? Jesus.
This is Ducky, I guess, trying to be angry, but
Oh no, she's just playing with her.
So is that the theme? Is that the theme of the movie? Anger.
and yeah, just like with Sarah's sisters, Ducky's siblings, aside from Spike, of course, never really come into play in these movies.
Poor Spike.
No, no-
feels
Well,
left out.
also, for a direct-to-video movie, apparently according to Wikipedia, at least, how the hell did they rope the London Symphony Orchestra into this?
Well,
How
that's
could they afford to do that?
Well,
Also-
that's the thing about these movies, Dwibs. They surprisingly have sturdy enough budgets to garner some legit talent for them.
This movie is one of the more boring ones for me because the plot moves at a snail's pace.
So, Pedro, which would you prefer? The absolute insanity of Stone of Cold Fire or the monotony of this?
I'll save that answer until we finish the movie.
Fair enough. Wait a minute. Hold on.
I want to comment on this. Until now. Okay, so.
Wait a minute. Hold on. A movie where a certain species migrates into the Great Valley and questions whether or not the main character may want to live and go with them. Where have I seen this before? Oh, right, Land Before Time 4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, I won't knock it before I try it, because technically different circumstances, like, at least Littlefoot had his grandparents still in the valley and whatnot, although there was a chance that they may have to go,
Okay.
given how Grandpa was feeling sick and all that jazz, so I guess one could argue it's different enough. But again, like Pedro mentioned, you probably have a good idea how this arc is gonna go.
Yeah, but that's the well. I'm going to voice my piece when Shirek returns, but for now, yeah, let's see.
If I may, this is kind of an issue I have with animated sitcoms. Like, okay, while I get the advantage of an animated sitcom over a live action sitcom, one thing a live action sitcom actually has to, commit to is when some things are just obviously changing so much that they gotta change up the status quo. And don't get me wrong, status quo is meant to be a good thing, but my frustration is when status quo stagnates a series to the point where nothing is allowed to change. Hence the animated sitcom. Now, it's not always like that. There are some animated sitcoms that do allow stuff to change, but I've noticed that a lot of times there comes to a point where, certain animated sitcoms just refuse to change certain aspects to the point where you know exactly how an episode is gonna
Hold on, I'm
go.
gonna have to comment on this. Why are the children acting so surprised that the Stegosaurus are coming in to drink water?
No. I think they're acting surprised that Spike is with them instead of with Ducky, because, Spike and Ducky have been
Oh, right,
inseparable
right.
siblings. Whoa!
Again,
Frame rate on
this
that
is
water there.
Yeah, like it's again, this conflict is already so contrived because, like, come on, guys, really? I'm not really supposed to believe that Spike is going to be, for whatever reason, super taken with these other Spike tails.
If
all
I
of a
may,
sudden.
here's what I would have done. Have the Spike Tails stick around in the Great Valley, but, have it be that Spike will commute between living with them and living with Ducky still, so we can at least maybe change up a bit some stuff, but still obviously keep some things intact. But no, they change it into this big, oh, will Spike stay with Ducky or will he leave? Will one of our incredibly marketable characters leave the cast and no longer be able to be sold? Oh, but look, now without Spike there, Ducky cannot sleep still.
The problem, Joe, with your theory is that would require the script to have nuance and try to reach a middle ground that is intelligent. It would force the kids watching this to actually think about the fact that things don't work in extremes. But unfortunately, we can't have that shit. Yes.
The thing is, we have seen some of these sequels obtain some nuance, so I wonder, what's up with some of the later sequels? Okay, yeah, the obvious answer being sequel stagnation, but still, come on.
Dibs.
Well, I just realised something. This came out in 2001.
Yes.
So did Universal's much bigger dinosaur IP, Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, wasn't that a box office failure?
No, it did fine, but not great.
Like, I recall it put
yeah.
the series on ice for a good while.
So yeah, the big freeze is in.
Yup, snow.
Yeah, this is what Jurassic Park 3 was missing. Snow.
Yes, Major?
Don't eat. Well, technically, I mean, it's frozen. It's frozen water, so I guess technically it's not bad for you.
Yeah, sometimes people do actually live off of snow in drastic cases.
Sure.
Like, I'm reminded of that bit in SpongeBob where Patrick was choking on snow, but it turned into water and he drank it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting because he lives in water, but whatever. The show keeps turning whether water exists in that universe on and off.
Heh.
Even in its golden era, it did that. titular big freeze is now here. So what are they going to do with it?
And they're all turning to Mr. Thicknose for his supposedly big knowledge, but apparently he's got jack shit.
Well, this is most unorthodox.
Same. You know, like, see, this is the problem. Like, you could have at the very least first checked if maybe there was some validity to what he was saying. Instead, you just immediately dismissed him as just being a lying kid. Like, so you know what, Mr. Thicknose, you suck. Good day, sir.
And to the movie's credit, it does call him out on that. My guess is that the idea of this movie is to show that, yeah, you look up to your older elders for all the answers, but sometimes they don't know everything because your parents are not always God, kids.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, not a bad message to tell. I don't think it's told the best, but it's a good message.
Oh, thank God. For a second, I thought he was going to sniff that of a dinosaur's bottom, and I was like, what the hell? The movie am I watching?
Jesus Christ.
This is basically...
What the fuck was that?
It's like the kid-friendly version of a snuff film, a sniff film.
This is yet another case of the problem of this. Like, Ducky and Spike don't actually talk about this. I mean, I get that Spike can't talk, but, like, although, the movies already kind of broke that rule, but that's beside my point. I get that Spike doesn't speak, but there should be some kind of discussion between Spike, Ducky, and potentially the mother as well, Ducky's mother, I mean, about this. But instead, they just have Ducky be mad at him, and that's it.
When do these films start going widescreen?
I think it was like movie 10? But don't quote me on that.
Okay, let me just say this. I've got nothing against 4x3 or anything. In fact, I'm not a big fan of those times where they try and stretch it out to fit the full screen because bits get cut off at the top.
Yeah, same.
But I'd much prefer 16:9.
Reminds me of that stupid survey that Funimation made when they were making a new release of Dragon Ball Z. So guys, what do you want to do? Do you want us to keep the 4x3 or crop it into widescreen? And I'm like, the fact that you're even asking that stupid question tells me that you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Was anyone
Seriously.
actually asking for...
No, it makes no sense for them to even ask. Hey guys, do you want the show as it was made, or do you want us to crop the fucking image? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, you idiots?
Yeah, this really feels like the closest thing to a Christmas movie. Even got the customary snowball fight and everything.
Also, yeah, suddenly there's like this bluish filter.
Well,
again.
it's to show how things are colder.
Yeah, and Spike changed colors completely. I get that it's a bluish filter, but like, there should still be a shade of green in there somewhere in Spike's model. I mean, Ducky still has a somewhat shade of grayish green, whereas the Spike has gone full light blue.
Maybe it's to show that he's reacting colder to it? Seeing as how the other Stegosaurus looks more green, too?
Yes, movie. I totally believe that Spike is slowly going to abandon his family from up until this point. I totally believe that.
Okay. To be fair, let's look at this through the lens of little kids at the time. Although I'll admit as a kid I didn't always catch this part of the film often. I mainly just got in when, of course, the heavy stuff hit, so didn't register with me as much. And speaking of which, yeah, we had our fun with the snow. Now it's time for things to get a bit serious.
Let me just quickly explain something to Shiroi. Basically, Shiroi, here's what happened. A family of Stegosauruses moved into the Great Valley, and the female Stegosaurus immediately started pushing for Ducky's mom to basically give the Spike to her. Because don't you think he'll be better with his species and shit? I mean, that's
so bad.
Okay. To give her credit, it wasn't like she was trying to take him from a family or anything. What she mainly offered was, hey, maybe you might like to stay with the Stego, since Ducky's mom does explain that Spike had lost his parents, so, it has been a bit tough, but he is one of the family, so, to be fair, it's more like the Stegos have offered to let him stay with them, and, Spike does get a kick out of actually getting to hang out with others of his ilk, so that's earned fine. What I don't buy... Go on.
Go ahead. Like Jova said earlier, a good movie would find a middle ground, a nuanced middle ground among this, where maybe Spike could still stay with the actual adopted family that he knows, and maybe potentially also visit or maybe stay a bit with the Stegosaurus that could just stay in the Great Valley. That way, the movie could portray an actual case of maybe a child who potentially has two families that they sometimes live a bit with that family than the other family because of whatever possible circumstances may have happened. Problem is, that's not what they go with, Shiroi. Instead, it's this thing where, oh no, is Spike going to stay with Ducky, or is he going to abandon her?
Like I mentioned, it's a bit of a pseudo repeat of Littlefoot and the Long Necks coming in during, I think 4 was called the Great Long Neck Migration.
I was going to ask a question since I missed the transition period. Did this happen because the teacher ignored Littlefoot's warning about what he saw?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Basically, Littlefoot had mentioned it, but Thick Nose turned his nose up at it, so... Yeah!
Basically, Mr. Thick Nose sucks. Good day, sir.
Essentially, if Thick Nose had told them, they might have prepared better for this, essentially. And they did call Thick Nose out on it, for it. So, I guess, I'm guessing that the moral here is like, well, while elders can know a lot of stuff, they can't know everything.
Well, it's like, because I was here for this part at least, there was the bit where Pedro pointed out that, the teacher did say, oh, he's, he knows about this stuff, but it's like, oh, nowhere near here. And it's like, just because you hadn't seen it here doesn't mean others hadn't seen it. So yeah, he literally just ignored the warning, and now this has happened.
It's not to mention, is that how jaded you are, Mr. Thick Nose? You won't even try to give the kid a chance to prove that what he's saying is true?
But guys, he was wrong one time, therefore we don't believe him anymore.
Okay,
of course.
To the herd's credit, him being wrong this time may have absolutely have doomed them. At the very least, he could have told them, hey, Littlefoot told me this, and I guess at this point even the herd realized, hey, usually when Littlefoot points out something, he tends to be right about it, so... Yeah, one time we could have listened to him. I feel like they're a bit out of line suggesting to just outright banish him. To be fair, that's more so Topsy being Topsy, but I digress. It is, I can get why they're not happy with him regarding this.
I feel like in this situation, if they were to exile him, he'd just straight up die.
For a second there, I thought you meant it every time he speaks, one of the dinosaurs dies.
Yeah, this conflict between this conflict between Ducky and Spike doesn't feel contrived and forced at all, does it? It's just so out of character for these two to just for Ducky to get angry at him for just for this.
Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate in that. I'll give the movie credit. I do feel like it has been building up to the boiling point where Ducky has felt jealous of Spike. Having a good time with, these others here and there. I will say this, though, I do call bullcrap on her lamenting Spike leaving his own family when she just pushed him to. I can get what they were going for, though, whereas Ducky is, again, unfortunately bottling up her emotions and letting them erupt in the worst way possible to the point where she lashes out at Spike, and that's what pushes him. Now, I'm not going to act like it's genius writing. I can get at least what they were going for.
Now, this song, of course, is basically spelling out the theme of the movie, which is the whole, family is about who takes care of you and everything, who you are, and blah blah blah. It has nothing to do with species or blood relations and all that shit. I get again in usual Land Before Time fashion. The songwriting is very on the nose and lacks nuance and poetry to it. It's just, again, like most of the songs in this franchise, it comes across more like they're singing talking points rather than actually singing song lyrics.
Some songs are better than others. Like, occasionally we will get the occasional bop, but yeah, this song, where do I
He doesn't
place?
walk like us. He doesn't whatever like what does that matter, Petrie? Now you're the one being,
I think that's the point of the lyric to lead into that point.
I guess.
As somebody who really likes the found family trope, this movie is just not good.
Yeah, like, let me put it like this. Much as I play devil's advocate, and I don't think this movie is doing all of its points horribly, it is not doing them remarkably either. Let me just make that clear.
The movie's also very boring because, like I said, I cannot buy for even a single second. We already know where this is going. We know that these concerns are none because we know Spike is going to go back to this family. And for the record, Shiroi, the Stegosaurus from this movie disappear after this movie.
Oh.
So, seriously, this movie is, in the grand scheme of the franchise, this movie doesn't really go anywhere.
While this song... Oh, no, go on, Joe.
I wonder, might this actually be the most useless of the Land Before Time movies in terms of continuity?
That's a good segue, because I'll let Pedro answer first, actually.
I'm trying to think about this one or maybe the third one.
I mean, even the third one, I'd argue, at least told its moral better. And mind you, that was not exactly artistry itself, but it did it with...
Caring.
And yet, no, I'm gonna say it. They carried that out better, but yeah, sure, you?
No, I wanted to mention something, actually, because you brought up... This is something I wanted to talk about earlier, but you gave a good lead into it anyway. This story happens on a very weird contrivance, because it's Bigfoot that isn't believed, right? No, sorry, Littlefoot, sorry.
Well, okay, the thing is...
But no, wait, let me finish. I'm not quite done. This is the character who earlier we pointed out that, like, he has them complaining that he has a respect problem or whatever they called it.
Negative attitude.
Yeah, negative attitude. It's like, this is not the character who has a negative attitude. Like, he's Mr. Positivity, so you don't believe him because you think he has a negative attitude, which doesn't exist, and it only exists so this plot can exist. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yes.
I think this might legit be the only movie that gets the characters this wrong. Like, and keep in mind, for as much as we ragged on Stone of Cold Fire, Littlefoot still was in character for that.
Well, that's the thing. Littlefoot technically is in character. It's more so the fact that the characters around him are out of character because, like Shira said, they imply that he's Mr. Negative Attitude, even though the last person that should be accused of that is Littlefoot.
Again,
they have a character in the cast who they could do that with. Sarah. She's right there.
Okay.
She had a whole song about her negative attitude.
Okay, so going back to what I mentioned earlier, Given that, Ficknose seemed to take issue with what Littlefoot was suggesting, I wonder if this was to imply that this was to imply on the arc of Ficknose's own pride issues, wherein he takes issue with Littlefoot specifically because Littlefoot is the one who questioned his knowledge in that regard, so he hones in on Littlefoot as the negative one, even though we know that is absolute bunk, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Which, could actually be an interesting, neat writing technique. And I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that may have been what they had going for it. That being said, the writing is so hokey that I wouldn't blame anyone for not seeing it that way and it possibly just being on accident too. I'm sure
this movie is also very boring because the plot, while there's technically a plot, it meanders, and the movie doesn't do a good job in portraying its themes in a compelling way. It's just kind of like look at this one, for example. Yeah, exactly. It's like I think that family is something that never ends. What does that even mean?
Well, I guess it's the idea that a family
family doesn't end.
I think it's supposed to mean that a family bloodline can carry on, even if, not by blood, essentially.
But God, Pedro, do we have to dumb these songs down more for you?
Also, Spike's eyes are red now.
Wait.
Is this evil, Spike?
I'm starting to think so. He's gone full blue, his eyes are red.
He's evil, Spike.
Look, I mentioned this before in the previous movie, and I'll bring it up again. I get it. You're trying to do the whole thing where, because of the lighting conditions, the colors look different. I understand what you're trying to do.
Guys?
Yes?
To be fair, Spike kinda had reddish eyes before.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry. But even then, so that still applies to my complaint about his bluish color. Because all the other dinosaurs that are green, they still have a shade of green in them.
Again, my guess is that, since dinosaurs don't always react to the cold, the idea is to show that their skin is becoming colder in response to said cold.
I guess. Also, what? Oh, hey, Mr.
Wait
Fake Nose.
a minute. That's not the cliff. It's the disgraced teacher.
Oh,
and
yeah,
by disgraced, I mean the banished to think because you got a question wrong kind.
Well,
and guess what?
They didn't actually banish him, remember?
Yeah. No, that you're thinking of the previous movie where, what's his name, Jova? York, the
Michael York's character.
Yeah. What's his name again?
Hold on. Michael York's character in Land Before Time.
I forgot his
Fire.
name.
It was Toronto.
That's it. Toronto got banished for reasons that were completely unjustified, and we all talked about that in the previous commentary.
Yeah.
They named him after a Canadian city.
Sure, why not? And guess what, Shiroi? The crap teacher now gets his own song about how much of a crap teacher he is.
That's why I'm going with you. I could write this in my sleep.
Did you write this in your sleep?
Shiroi, it's called lazy script writing when the writing is so predictable that the writers use the most obvious lines to follow one another. So that we start to develop a thinking pattern where we can even predict this stuff. It happened the same time when me and Duez were watching Pokemon I Choose You, where I literally predicted something that the antagonist said before he said it. So.
So where are they actually going?
They're trying to find Ducky, who's trying to find Spike.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, this part of I have to talk about this part of Petrie. Okay. So, guess what? I've complained in the previous commentaries about how so many of the gang's problems could have been solved by Petrie flying ahead and scouting ahead for stuff. But guess what? This is the one movie where they actually remember to do that. Problem is, it's the one movie where it doesn't work because of the cold.
Okay. To be fair, I forget if it was movie 4. They also tried to have him do it, but he does point out that the wind's not good for flying. That was either movie 3 or 4.
I think it was probably 4.
Yeah. Like, either way, though, to give him credit, they have not always completely forgotten the Petrie thing, and yeah, this one does address it too, that with the higher altitude, it gets all the more colder.
Huh.
Alright, I believe we're about to get our scheduled avalanche scene.
I never understood this joke in cartoons where there's a rumbling noise and the characters make a fart joke where the characters go, "It wasn't me." Well, of course we know it wasn't you. That doesn't sound like even remotely like a fart.
I'm guessing they weren't going for the fart one so much as it was a grumbling sound.
A rumbling stomach.
The rumbling stomach, I guess.
Like hunger
I
and
guess.
stuff.
Well, that happened.
So
Obligatory avalanche. Go on, Doug.
Which of these characters?
Go on.
Which of these characters dies in the avalanche?
Nobody died. Don't allow me to use one of my favorite jokes from George in the Jungle movie, Dibs. Don't worry, Dibs. Nobody dies in this story. They just get really big boo-boos.
Unless you're a sharp tooth, keep in mind, these kids have killed at least 3 at this point now.
Yeah.
But they were evil, so
That's
you
the
know.
that's the thing. That's the thing, Shiroi. As I've talked about before, like movie 2's entire message was that sharp teeth are not as different from the other dinosaurs as we thought. And then
in
we get
movie
stuff
6, we killed 2 of them.
Yeah, and then in movie 6, we killed 2 of them mercilessly. You know, so I guess fuck that noise.
Kill them.
Was that the same one with the big water?
No.
That's 5.
No.
Okay.
No. 6 was the one with the lone dinosaur ranger guy, where they end up killing 2 sharp teeth and even take their tooth. Like, goddamn.
Yeah. But don't you see, Joe, but they were really, really mean, and that justifies us being cruel to them.
And I guess we also did kill that sharp tooth in movie 5 as well, so I guess that's technically 4.
Yeah. It's amazing to me how these movies are only barely over an hour long, and yet they still manage to have padding.
I mean, and the thing is, again, we have had some pretty good sequels that show that they don't need to pad themselves out if they actually have a good enough plot, so I can't stress enough how frustrating it is. Like, I can't believe I'm gonna say it, Stone of Cold Fire did have some padding issues, but they weren't as bad as this one.
Yeah, this is a plot that can be easily told over the course of 15, maybe 20 minutes. And they stretch this out as much as they can.
Every time Jova says Stone of Cold Fire, I keep thinking Stone Cold Steve Austin was in that movie.
Honestly, would you be surprised if he ended up starring in one of these movies eventually?
Yes,
Yeah,
I would. He's not a voice actor.
the T-Rex comes for them and he's like, What?
Oh god, no.
Yes.
Even Austin himself regrets doing that.
Also, sharp tooth. Oh, all right, Jova. Let's see. Is this not going to be number 5?
Or, let's see.
Let's see.
Okay, I'm gonna find out. Is this a better T-Rex confrontation than the one in Jurassic Park 3?
Well, actually, that was a Spinosaurus, not a T-Rex.
Oh, Spinosaurus is also in Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, the big dinosaur antagonist in that movie was a Spinosaurus, not a T-Rex.
Well, I mean, the T-Rex was in it for a bit, but that was just basically
Yeah, it is.
to do
A lot of people
Knuckles.
didn't really like how the Spinosaurus was the primary over the T-Rex. I'm like, well, does it really have to be the T-Rex all the time?
Okay, let's be honest. The main problem was the fact that the Spinosaurus kills the T-Rex in such a callous fashion as to say, hey, look here, here's the new hot shit.
I guess, but I don't really mind that. I mean, it's a good way to showcase how stronger this particular sharp tooth is compared to.
Yeah, the problem
with
with...
hey, true, and they can't get through a door.
True, yeah. Also, another problem with that, it was a Spinosaurus that was incredibly inaccurate. Basically, an archaeologist by the name of Jack Horner, yes, that was his actual name, Jack Horner, make all the Puss in Boots 2 jokes that you please, wanted to suddenly big up his discovery, which again turned out to be false anyway, and suggest that the Spinosaurus was the coolest predator and that the T-Rex was actually just a measly scavenger. So...
Talk about this. Ducky just said that, no, I don't like being mad. I'm not good at being mad. And, of course, well, actually, I think I'll finish later.
Basically, to sum it up, it was one of the worst replacements of the main threat. Like, it would have been one thing to just have the Spinosaurus be the new big bad, but to have it pretty much just brutalize and mop the floor with a T-Rex, and essentially have the T-Rex be tossed away in such a callous fashion, yeah, that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And that is the reason why they brought Rexy back just to smash through the skeleton in Jurassic World, which is confirmed to be the same Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. Wow.
Okay, so
well, hey, they didn't kill him, but he...
Well, that's the thing about it. They didn't kill him, as far as we know, but considering his wound is in there, for all we know, maybe he freezes to death.
Oh my god, like, seriously though, like, Littlefoot, we get it, you wanted to avenge your mother, but we don't need you killing off the entire sharp tooth population, especially considering how you're friends with a few sharp teeth.
Is this actually how the dinosaurs died? Like, the asteroid had little to do with it, they were killing each other off anyway.
Good lord. Littlefoot caused the dinosaur extinction. Oh, and look, in typical Don Blue fashion, they just missed them.
Of course. American Tail, specifically. Don't you see, Dwibs? A T-Rex killed my mom, so I am now officially justified in killing every T-Rex that I see.
Then why did you let Chomper live?
Because...
I'm very selective.
I'm very selective, yeah.
Alright, yeah, by the way, the parents are worried about...
nice that day.
Oh yeah, by the way, the parents are worried about the kids being out again.
Yeah, because that almost never happens.
They go out alone so often. Either they're very lackadaisical about this, or they are really shit parents.
Well, okay. I'd say they're good parents, it's just that their kids find incredibly unique ways each movie to somehow get out of the Great Valley. Oh, but what's this we may have found?
I don't... Well... So what do you think it is, Mr. Smarty Pants?
Are we going to get the dinosaur equivalent of that scene from Bambi now?
So, ice.
Basically, Sheila, guess what? Ducky decided that she doesn't like being mad because it's tiring and whatever, and she doesn't like being mad. You'd think, and Sarah, as expected, is not called out on her very badly influential behavior.
I mean, I guess...
Oh.
Oh dear.
And they all die of pneumonia. The end.
But
I thought it was lava for a second somehow, even though obviously not. Like, Why is it red?
Yeah, it turns out the water is quite warm. So warm enough to restore their proper colors to them.
Ooh, ooh.
Remember,
is this meant to be like a
What is
spring?
happening?
Is it meant to be
Yeah,
like
it might be a
of
spring.
sort- a
yeah,
of
hot
sorts?
spring.
Huh.
No, there you go.
Huh. But it's usually not red.
I'm guessing they colored it red to and color coded as hot water.
I'm fine with this.
Finally. All right, let's see what he answers.
Okay.
Don't worry, he sings about it.
Okay.
So basically, you've been a liar all your life.
So, the trick is that the knowledge he told was technically true, but what he lied about was actually being there to experience that stuff. So, you do realize why this is silly, right? My dude, you're a professor. You know what professors tend to do? They tend to retell knowledge that they themselves learn from other sources. Because more often than not, the professors weren't there during those historical moments that they're teaching about.
Exactly. Yeah, because oh, you know what? I'm a fraud. I'm a history teacher. And I'm teaching my students about World War II, but I did not go through World War II. And I'm just like, yes, of course you didn't. You were probably born after it.
Like,
at this point.
literally the only thing this doofus lied about was just being there. Otherwise, as far as he knew, it was the most up-to-date knowledge. So we essentially have a contrived conflict for an incredibly contrived reason for a guy who technically was doing his job right, just lying about actually being there.
Also, if talking about something that you personally were not involved in is a lie, then 90% of social media is full of is lies.
Oh my god, did this movie predict the social media craze? It's a scary thought. Okay, it's an interesting bout here, you know, somebody who bigs himself up because they like attention, and Jesus Christ, this did predict the internet.
You know, Jova, I've heard you bring up Martin Luther King's time here and there, but weren't you there, Jova? Weren't you there?
I mean, if I was there, that would mean that I'm older than literally all of you right now, so I aged remarkably well, all things considered.
This is so silly. Shira, your thoughts, please.
I don't really have any about this, to be honest.
Like, I mean, was it even really that much a conflict?
And did we need a song, an entire song dedicated to this?
I'm not even bugged by
Yes.
this. I'm not even bugged by the song. I'm just bugged by the fact that really his big conflict was, oh, I don't feel as special because I wasn't actually there, and that's why I lied, even though, again, people were still listening to you, my dude. You knew knowledge that others didn't, that you learned. So you weren't there for it. Big deal. Most people have not been outside the Great Valley ever since movie 1. Although, God, that ironic feeling when the kids have probably been out more than he has.
So yeah, with that plot thread resolved, can we get back to the core found family plot movie, maybe? I mean, we only have like about 13 minutes movie. If you're going to pull a climax out of your ass, you might want to get to it.
Did we already have the climax with the sharp tooth, now that I think about it?
Okay, if we already had a climax, what exactly are the last 13 minutes of this movie about then?
Good question.
It's okay, Mr. Fick knows. We'll just cut to the point where you already climbed all of it. That way we don't have to explain how you climb it.
I guess we'll see how that goes.
I'm willing to bet that's what they do. I would laugh so hard if that's what they do.
They're all gonna die.
And I don't care because this woman, I don't really like this woman. She's kind of, you know...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember...
I thought...
Yeah, Spike basically kind of works as the dog of this group, so go ahead, Goose.
I thought I accidentally missed the rest of the movie.
No, don't worry. Like, okay. Now they're all gonna get food. Let's see what happens. Alright, let me see.
They died.
Holy cow, they did it. They kinda did it.
Yeah, they're showing them climbing.
They're showing them climbing, but we never explained exactly how they even got to this point. Because
To
they
be
have
fair-
to go through some cliffs here and there.
Okay, to be
before.
fair, we haven't seen them go against the really sharp angle cliffs yet. It's been just slanted area. Oh, hey!
Oh, never mind. I guess the T-Rex survived. Okay. We're still... the count is still at 4, then. Is it... I mean, it looks the same, like it's the same sharp tooth.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
So do something then.
Let's see.
Oh! Here we go! There you go! 5! There you go, 5!
Hold on. Maybe he's okay? Well, then again, I don't know if we ever... Oh, maybe not. I guess, to be fair, it was
We do?
fixed. And how did you repay him? By attempted murder.
Brilliant.
But remember, they're not so different, and they're our friends.
Well, that's not so much that they are friends. Well, okay, the moral of the second movie was that T-Rexes are not mindless beasts. They also feel and
Like,
shit.
they're literally eating their diet and trying to live. Like,
Yeah, and yet every movie after that completely ignores that moral.
Movie 5.
Okay, fine. Movie 5 aside. Okay, aside from movies 2 and 5, they basically ignore that moral.
And I guess there is technically the series of which Chomper is a main character.
I think he's also in movie 14 for a bit. I think.
Yes, he is. He and Ruby are in that movie, since that movie takes place after the series. And again,
Right.
I guess I'll give them credit. They actually did pay mind to have the movies be in continuity with the series. They could have easily just ignored the series.
I'm still wondering how the hell the series explains Chomper moving into the Great Valley. How does that even make any sense?
If I recall correctly, essentially Ruby's his caretaker, bringing him there for potentially a safety or a visit. I don't remember the details, but I think they do actually explain that.
Aha! There you go, Shiro. This is the payoff. You should direct your anger towards
Snow.
Sparkles?
Damn. Okay.
Wait. So, I could direct my anger against Sparkles? Perfect. Every time I'm angry, I can watch Thomas and the Magic Railroad and growl every time they say Sparkle, Sparkle.
Jeez.
Perfect therapy.
Just gonna lock you in a room full of glitter. See what happens.
I can agree. I can agree with oldest Littlefoot. Not sure about the wisest part.
Like, the thing is, like I mentioned, technically he does have a lot of that knowledge. It turns out the only problem was just that he lied about being there, apparently. But look, the good news is now we can all go to the hot springs and enjoy the grass. So, once again, the kids have saved their rear ends.
Yeah, all that stupid shit about Littlefoot that I never should have said because it made no sense, I take it back.
Yeah, it was really dumb of me. I'm sorry.
Again, I think what the story was going for is like he was directing that against Littlefoot because he didn't like how Littlefoot was questioning his wisdom when Littlefoot brought up the snow and whatnot. Again, like I said, this is not necessarily amazingly written, but I can get what they're going for at least. Hey,
And
look, the spike tails. They made it.
Yeah. Yes.
How nice. Happy together.
Well, Debs.
Oh god, they're gonna sing again.
No, don't worry. I think we're done with the songs.
Oh god.
But don't you see,
Oh
Debs?
my
I
God.
think family lives.
Yes, I know about family. Did you have to say it twice?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the 6th movie, is it? Yeah, the 8th. Yeah, these keep blending in with each other, and they got like 8 left.
Oh, right!
no.
Yeah, this bit. I forgot about this climax.
Yeah, I guess the climax, quote unquote, is saving Spike from drowning, which should be a very
Oh, snap! He spoke! He called her. He called
Yeah, it's
her
kinda
his
like-
mama.
Yeah, it's kind of like how he said Ducky that one other time. I don't really like this thing where they sometimes just casually have Spike talk, because I always thought that his appeal was that his character is silent.
To be
and just go through
fair,
the animation.
I've seen this done a lot. I get the idea where when he speaks, it's meant to be an oh crap moment. Like, it shows how drastic things are when he actually can yell out a word. And I guess this shows that she really is his mother.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you just oh, you just saved him, Mom. Of course I did. He's my boy. The mother did nothing in this movie, so that line coming from her feels unearned. because
Well-
she had zero involvement in this in the plot. Like,
But
she,
don't you see, it's to show that Spike's true family isn't necessarily the one that looks like him, but the one he has been with.
of course, you could.
Again, found family, one of the things that's easiest for me to like, and I do not like this movie.
Like, I mean, oh boy.
So it's like-
Let me put it like this. This is technically a better movie than Stone of Cold Fire, since at the very least it's not as mean-spirited or as dumb. But I'm gonna be honest, I think I had more fun with Stone of Cold Fire than this.
Yeah, this movie is just kind of boring. So basically, Shiro, it's like me. So what you're saying right now, Shiro, is just like me with Life is Strange 2. Then.
Yeah.
And that's a movie.
Yeah, and
Well,
the movie doesn't even end. It just stops.
So it's like almost all the other movies then.
No, I'm sorry. The other movies felt like they had proper endings. This one feels so abrupt. Like, we literally had a last-minute climax just so we can have Ducky's mom go in and save Spike to establish that, no, we're his real family, the Stegosauruses agree, Spike can go back. Like, the thing is, for as much drastic as they were about Spike leaving the group, Spike really only came back at, like, the very, very end of the movie when you think about it.
Yeah. And that was Land Before Time 8, The Big Freeze. Shiro, your thoughts, please.
Well, I didn't like the movie. I don't think it's the worst. I don't know which one that would be. They're all pretty bad.
Question, did you like it more or less than Stone of Cold Fire?
Honestly, it's been such a gap between us watching those two, I couldn't tell you accurately.
Basically, Stone of Cold Fire was the one that got to the point where aliens are now a part of the continuity.
Well, I think it's like I think like if what Pedro said is anything to go by, I probably found it more amusing than annoying. So
That's
yeah,
fair.
But anyway, yeah, I did not like this. The plot kind of happens for a reason. They just had to make up. They could have done this. They could have done this plot, but have Sarah be the focus of that particular point, not Littlefoot. The songs are typical fare for this show, movie, series, thing. I don't know. Like, a lot of these movies are just white noise to me at this point. I really don't know what to say about it, aside from the big problem being, how the plot happens in the first place. Yeah, sorry, I got nothing for this.
I got nothing.
So who's next?
Shiroi
I guess
2023.
I got this. I got nothing, just like this movie.
Yeah, I'll go next. I've got next to nothing, so it's a bit more. It's not great. In fact, okay, I get what they're trying to do. Yeah, they've had the crazy alien one last time, so they're trying to bring things more down to earth with this one, kind of like James Bond in a way. The problem is they did it so much to the point where the story's really dull, and the music's just kind of there, and in spite of the London Symphony Orchestra, and the animation is just kind of mediocre. And the voice acting is not that great.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really about it. It's a movie that came out, and we've got a whole bunch of these left, plus a TV show. Mm-hmm. So if anything, it'll be interesting to see how they try and drag this series out.
They'll find a way, Debs. Oh, they will find a way.
Well, I know they found a way. They made like 6 to 8 more of these.
Again, of varying quality, some better, some worse. Like I mentioned, we have seen that there are good movies amongst the sequels.
I haven't found any yet.
again, some contrarian stuff aside, the issue is that it is a bit of a lottery shot, though, on if you get something good, something bad, something completely intolerable, or just something out there.
In fact, that's since you mentioned the lottery, Jova, I might do that at some point. I'll next time I do the lottery, I'll pick numbers only from 1 to how many of these films there are, and see how well that goes. Anyway, that's it. It's just a movie with dinosaurs in it. I guess if I'm comparing this to Universal's much more bigger, high-profile dinosaur release that year, I guess it's better than Jurassic Park 3 in that it doesn't make me boil with rage. It just kind of exists.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. There you go. Land Before Time 8. Better than Jurassic Park 3. That's my movie quote on the poster.
This was certainly a movie where a big freeze came about, lessons were learned, stuff happened, Spike left, then came back, and we found a hot spring with plants that saved the day. Wasn't that a marvelous story, children? What did we learn today?
I learned that Mr. Thicknose is a moron and he should not teach.
Which, again, the movie expects us to go with, which we do, but then they go with, no, actually what he was teaching was true, he just learned it from others instead of being there, so like, oh no, how dare that professor tell what he learned from other sources, like a professor would? Like, look, not every professor has to be Indiana Jones, you know.
And that song he sung, it's never too late to learn. That's not. Yeah, it's true. That's not. You're never too young. You're never too old to learn. That is true. I get that, but that doesn't really have anything to do with your conflict, though. So I don't know why the fuck you're singing about that.
I think that one pertains to the conflict of how he thought he knew best always and thought he couldn't learn from anyone. Hence why, he chooses not to believe Littlefoot about the snow and, assumes he knows best, whereas actually it turned out Littlefoot was right in that. Again, I see where stuff is coming from. The problem is just that, again, it is so unremarkably written that you could be excused for believing that the plot points connect by accident rather than by intention. I'm willing to give him the benefit of a doubt, but while this might technically be a better movie than Stone of Cold Fire, look, for as bad as Stone of Cold Fire was, that was definitely more entertaining. If at the very least, Michael York's character... Heck, I even preferred his villain song over any of the songs in this movie. Like, nah, give me Stone of Cold Fire any day, despite how bad it was. The big freeze literally just freezes you in your tracks and keeps you paused on the story for a good 30 or so minutes before things get going. And even when they do, the amount of climaxes we get, like, first there's the first battle with the Sharp Tooth, then there's the second battle with the Sharp Tooth, then there's Spike nearly drowning. Jesus. Like, and I thought Lord of the Rings had too many fake out endings. It is what it is. It's a lackluster Land Before Time sequel. Next!
Yeah, that was a movie. The plot is vague, and that's when it's not being contrived. There's so much padding. This entire thing could have been easily resolved in 20 minutes. But they pad it out so much. The characters don't make logical decisions. The music is whatever. The animation is average at best. It's just not particularly. It's just of all the Land Before Times, this is probably the most boring one because it's just. There's so much nothing in this. You'd think a movie 1 hour 15 minutes would go by quicker, but it doesn't. Like Jesus, it's blah. Yeah, I'm struggling to even talk about this thing because there's so little to it. What little there is to it is would have been easily resolved by people talking. Your favorite issue, Shiroi. I can't use my tell the truth joke because it doesn't really apply here.
Well,
Yeah,
if you can't really think of anything else to say, I guess that brings us to a close.
It really does. I'm really struggling to even talk about this movie because there's so much nothing to this thing. This is such a nothing movie. So, Jova, what's next on the list?
Alright then, so we have indeed done Land Before Time, The Big Freeze. So, with that out of the way, next up on the list will be, oh my god, a Land Before Time movie that I actually remember from start to finish, because this was a movie I'd gotten on VHS back in the day. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in next time on this series of movies for Land Before Time 9, Journey to Big Water. And before you ask, yes, that song does indeed see a return in that movie.
Oh no!
Because we totally need, because that song was just so good, we had to use it twice.
I mean, I'll admit, for me, it's a guilty pleasure, so yay! See you then.
See ya.